Check out IllinoisJobPost.com. That's IllinoisJobPost.com. It's part of our comprehensive radio and internet employment campaign designed to get your job openings noticed. For details, just reach out to your account manager. Put the power of radio and the internet to work for you at IllinoisJobPost.com.
From the Hart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. The city of Clinton has settled on a location for a new water tower. However, the search for a new city hall and police and fire stations remains in progress. Tony Harris, Clinton city administrator, explains that the property where the former Doc Allen's chiropractic business was located, which has been demolished at Quincy and Main Streets, will be where the water tower is planned to be constructed.
We are on a location for the water tower. That's going to be located right behind the old Doc Allen buildings that we just recently tore down. I believe it's going to be on the south side of the alley there. So that's being worked on now. And part of one other thing on the agenda, might have been last month's agenda, or maybe it's new business. It's the funding for the new water supply loan program. That's all part of that water tower. So that's been identified. And,
okay.
Construction will be starting early next year as well.
According to Harris, he and Mayor Helen Michalossi continue the search for locations for a new police and or fire station. He indicates progress is finding space for those two entities has been slow.
Locations for the fire department, city hall, and police department, that's a little more challenging. We have been, the mayor and I have been working very closely identifying locations. We do have some locations identified, just nothing that that the council's actually voted on. We've got one location that we're very interested in. However, there's some concerns about, there's already some concrete there. And there's already a building there that we thought maybe we could rehab. So we've got engineers working on that right now, directing us as to how to proceed with that. Can we use that building? So a study's got to be done first to determine feasibility. Can the building be used? Is there enough strength there for that building for storms, tornadoes, things like that? The parking lot, is it strong enough to support the heavy trucks? So when you identify places like that and there's already concrete and building there that we want to utilize to keep the cost down, there's added expense just doing like a study on it to see if it's even feasible to make that work. Concrete in the building. So we're in the middle of that. We've got that identified, and that location and other locations as a possible location. As nothing definite, nothing nailed down yet, but we're still working on it. The mayor wanted to have a location identified by the end of the year, and we're very close, but nothing to announce, and I don't think it's going to be announced until sometime early.
Locations for City Hall, as well as police and fire, are among the many items in the strategic plan that Harris and Mayor Michalossi continue to work on as we enter 2026. We'll have more with Harris next week on the progress of the strategic plan. It wouldn't be the holiday season without high school basketball tournaments, and the annual Monticello Holiday Hoopla tips off today. The 28th annual Holiday Hoopla basketball tournament begins today, Friday, and Monticello School Superintendent Adam Clapp says 8 boys basketball teams and 8 girls basketball teams will compete across the 3 days of the Holiday Hoopla, utilizing nearly all the gym space they have to offer.
So Hoopla, it begins on December 26th. It'll go December 26th, 27th, and 29th this year. So Friday, Saturday, and Monday. I believe this is our 28th annual holiday hoopla since it's been brought back. I believe it was a huge popular event back in the 60s and 70s, and then it took a little hiatus and came back in the 90s. But it's an awesome event just because, one, it's a great basketball tournament, a lot of great teams, both boys and girls. And if you're a traveling school or if you're just from Monticello, you have an opportunity to watch your boys team play and your girls team play at the same event. So that's a huge draw. But really just a cool opportunity to see our community and our athletic teams come and support a tournament. So you'll have every team within the high school has a section of time where they work the event, whether it's concession stands, ticket taking care of the floors, helping out with custodial work in both of the gyms.
The tournament is hosted by the Monticello Booster Club, and all the proceeds from the event go back to the Booster Club. Clapp says nearly every varsity program steps up with volunteers to make the event happen.
It's just awesome to see, our Booster Club and our teams kind of taking care of this and giving back. Our Booster Club does so much for all of our organizations here, and this is just a way that our players and parents and coaches are able to give back to the Booster Club. So it's a complete fundraiser. All proceeds go to the Booster Club to help support our athletes throughout the year. They do a couple other items, but mainly, we do some advertisement on the scores table and on the fence along 105. But as far as fundraising goes, this is the big fundraiser for the Booster Club. And, we're looking forward to another big turnout. Yeah, so I don't know the exact amount, how much they pour back into our programs, but it really does come down to how can the Athletic Booster Club enhance the programming here at Monticello High School. So they partnered with the district in our new weight facility. The district and the Booster Club partnered on purchasing the weight equipment for the building. So that's a major piece of that project. And that's something that, the Booster Club is very proud about. Several years ago, the Booster Club and the district partnered on the building of the press boxes at the baseball and softball complexes. And then each year, each team basically can apply for grant opportunities through the Booster Club to provide warm-ups, or maybe it's pieces of equipment that could enhance the program. Several years ago, the rebounding machines that are in Miller Gym in the Seaver Center, that basically it's a big net that kind of shoots you a pass. Those were Booster Club purchases several years ago. But each year, each team has the opportunity to apply for items through the Booster Club, and the Booster Club is very generous in granting those.
Sure. The holiday hoopla often serves as a great centerpiece for families and students who are in town for the holiday break to gather and reconnect.
It is going to be, with the way the tournament falls, where we have the first 2 days falling on a Friday, Saturday, and championship day occurring on Monday. That's a little bit different than it comes around like every 6 years or so, where it kind of falls on the weekend and then it travels over to the next week. But we'll see how it goes. I'm still expecting a big crowd, and it's just an exciting time. A lot of great basketball, and get to see a lot of people back for the holidays. A lot of alumni come back to the tournament. Just really cool to catch up with some of the former players and just some of the community members that haven't been around for a while to get back into the gym. And so, so the first 2 days of the tournament, the girls' side we played in Miller Gym, the boys' side we played in Seavers, and then championship day, the preliminary games will be played in Miller, and then our trophy games are played in Seaver Center. So it's a really great time. And once again, Monticello puts on a great tournament, and that's because of all the volunteers that are able to do so.
The holiday hoopla tournament takes place at Monticello High School, starting with games all day today and tomorrow, Friday and Saturday, and wraps up with trophy games on Monday. Hear Monticello boys basketball action all throughout the tournament on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Be sure to check in for updates of Clinton boys and girls results from the tournament at DeWittDailyNews.com, as well as video highlights from IL SportsWire on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. A brief cool down this weekend is going to be followed by another warm up in the weather forecasts. Ed Shipman at the National Weather Service in Lincoln indicates some rain is expected on Saturday night, which will help cool things off for Sunday as we prepare to usher in the new year next week.
Sure. Yeah. As we head into the weekend, Friday looks actually pretty sunny and 62. So 65 Christmas. Then we cool off to 62 on Friday. Saturday, the clouds move in. So there's a little bit of, potential for some light precipitation there. Right now, we're not showing it. It's not 20% or higher. So it's really not ending up in the forecast. But, we cool down to 58 Saturday. And then we have the cold front finally coming through. Saturday night, we're showing, chance of rain. 50% chance there. And so we're going to get some rainfall there. But we're also cooling down below freezing late that night. So we'll have to see if any of that maybe falls as freezing rain, but we're going to be so warm ahead of that the ground isn't going to be frozen.
Mm-hmm.
So, it'll just collect on maybe some higher tree branches that cool to the freezing level. So that won't be anything impactful there. And then Sunday, cooler, 39. So just slightly above normal there. We average around, 36, 37 at that time of the year, Sunday. So cooling off for the last half of the weekend, but really not too bad.
Outlooks for the week of the new year. Shimon notes there is a strong signal for above normal temperatures. With warm air in the area, Shimon isn't ruling out the possibility of some severe weather impacting central Illinois. Beyond next week and next weekend, Shimon says the outlooks continue to signal above normal temperatures, and with the 3-month outlooks still showing below normal temperatures, he feels some very cold weather could be coming in February. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device from DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more, DeWittDailyNews.com.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet Service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4Ls with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
If the flu's got you down, the Warner Hospital and Health Services Walk-In Clinic can help you feel better fast. CEO Paul Skowron inviting you to make us your backup plan to better health. Find out more by clicking our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. The Maroa-Forsyth Trojans held their opponents to a single point in the third quarter and rolled to an 84-14 victory over the Judah Christian Tribe on Tuesday night at the St. T. Christmas Tourney at Decatur St. Teresa High School. The Trojans had no issues finding the basket, finding an early 21-5 lead after the first quarter. Judah Christian struggled to score throughout the night, putting up 6 points in the second quarter and only 1 in the third to make the score 70-12 going into the final frame. Maroa-Forsyth was led by Cabron Lee, who scored 21 points, although he sat out the fourth quarter. Luke Smith added 20 points for the Trojans, while Kobe Lane had 14. All three players made at least 2 from three-point range. The Tribe was led by Josiah McCullough, who scored 4 points, all in the first half, while Jack Kersel and Simon Kincaid each had 3. With the win, Maroa-Forsyth improves to 6-3, while Judah Christian falls to 0-10. The Trojans have the Hayworth Hornets up next on December 29th. Tip-off is at 7:30 p.m. The Monticello Holiday Hoopla Tournament begins today, and here's all the coverage you can hear from the Hart Media Group. On WHOW and all its digital platforms, today the Clinton Maroons take on the Fithian Oakwood Comets at 2 p.m., and you can hear myself on that broadcast starting at about 1:45 p.m. this afternoon. On 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. The Monticello Sages will take on the Neoga Indians today at 11:30 a.m. You can also hear on Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Sages versus the Colfax Ridgeview Mustangs. And we end the tournament off with a doubleheader from the boys and girls trophy games, with tip-off times to be determined based on placement in the tournament. See highlights of the games by finding IL Sports Wire on your preferred social media platform. Josh Giddey had 19 points, 15 assists, and 11 rebounds. Kobe White hit a tie-breaking free throw with 1.9 seconds left, and the Chicago Bulls rallied for their fourth straight victory, 126-123, over the Atlanta Hawks on Tuesday night. White finished with 24 points for the Bulls, who trailed by 18 points in the second quarter, by 15 late in the third, and by 10 with less than 6 minutes left. Giddey's triple-double was his 7th this season, the second most in the league behind Denver's Nikola Jokic, who has 14. Nikola Vucevic had 21 points and 10 rebounds as the Bulls moved to 3-0 against the Hawks this season. Jalen Johnson had 24 points, 10 assists, and 9 rebounds for the Hawks, who have lost 4 straight. Trae Young contributed 22 points and 15 assists. Atlanta was missing Dyson Daniels for the first time this season. He sat out with a right hip inflammation. Nickeil Alexander-Walker hit a driving layup for the Hawks with 1.9 seconds left to tie it at 123 all. The Bulls advanced the ball with a